Let's get more detail now on how the budget affects Australia's foreign aid commitments. The government pledged to double foreign aid by 2015 to 2016, but that's been deferred by 1 year. Now, that's likely to save the government $2.9 billion over 4 years. The aid budget is predicted to go from $4.8 billion in 2011-2012 to around $7.7 billion in 4 years' time. Well, the Reverend Tim Costello is the CEO of World Vision Australia and the chair of the Community Council for Australia, and he joins us in the studio this morning. Good morning.
Good morning. It is early. Great to be with you.
These aid cuts had been foreshadowed and were very much upsetting the charity and foreign aid community. How disappointed are you that the government followed through on this?
Look, we're disappointed. We know that from early leaks it could have been much worse, so there's a sort of tinge of be grateful it's only this. But look, in perspective, we decided to achieve the Millennium Development Goals with 190 other nations. So when we signed up in 2000 for 2015, we rich nations were to give 70 cents in every $100. With this aid cut, we're just giving 35 cents. Compared to the British, now here's leadership. The British have had double-dip recession. They're at 0.5 already. They've legislated to be at 0.7 by 2013. And a Conservative leader said we won't balance the books on the backs of the poor. Now that's what the world expected of Australia, and they're going to raise an eyebrow that we reneged. That's disappointing.
We haven't officially reneged. We'll get to the target. It'll just take a bit longer to get to the target.
Well, sadly, it was bipartisan, and when Australians are pretty grumpy about polarised adversarial politics, it was good news that aid was above politics, and now breaking the bipartisanship, and I suspect, sadly, the opposition will join in, is a spiralling down. So whilst we're happy that at least some dollars are increasing, we know this literally saves lives. That's why we made our promise to the world, to the United Nations, to the poor. And that's why so many young people campaigned on this. Nothing in it for them, but they actually said this is what Australia stands for.
But the bipartisanship hasn't been broken because the opposition has come out and said that it, in fact, supports these cuts.
Yeah, well, it's a bipartisanship going totally against their promises. And why bipartisanship was important was it allowed you to increase. It's bipartisan in Britain, so a Conservative government slashed and burned everything because of double-dip recession, but they said we're ring-fencing aid. And because it was bipartisan, the Brits who are hurting said, that's right, we know we still are blessed and the poor are really hurting. This does cost lives.
Yeah, we'll break it down. In tax, what do you see is going to be the cost of delaying our commitments here in those communities we try to help?
Yeah, so we estimate that this will cost something like 200,000 lives a year. So because of the Millennium Development Goals focus, the number of children dying each day was 30,000 just 2 years ago. It's down to 20,000 because we've had the Millennium Development Goals, because the world has agreed, and countries like Britain, until now Australia, have been keeping their promises. Its impact on those who are trying to live on $1.25 is very significant, because just try and do it. You don't have clean water, you don't have enough food. So that's why churches and young people particularly campaigned for this. This was a huge achievement, this bipartisan promise of 0.5. By the way, we conceded saying, all right, we're not going to make 0.7, which is what your promise is. 0.5, that's good. For it to be pushed out again, it's like, how can Australia that escaped the global financial crisis justify it? That'll be the question in international ranks.
And where does this leave Australia in terms of those rankings in OECD countries and the contribution that it's making?
Well, we're ranked at 13th now, so it's 35 cents when we promised 70 cents. The Scandinavian countries are at 70%. The Brits will be at 70 cents in $100 by 2013, so we're about 14th. If it keeps increasing, we will go up that table, maybe up to 6th position, which is really important not just because of saving lives, but most of the world's poor are in our region. That's who we trade with. That's why it's such an important signal that we keep our promises.
Tim Costello, thank you for your time this morning.
It's a pleasure.